Good afternoon to my lecturers and juries. My name is Walkthru. Today, I'm going to present my semester 3 projects. My design is inspired by my own plant. It is an air plant. Air plants is a type of plant that can live without soil. I'm a person that like to have some greenery plants in my room and workspace that really make me feel healing when I was stressful doing my homework. Before we go deep talking about the air plant, let's start from my first board. This is my Project 1 board. It is a narrative style of site analysis board. The slide at the row KL is an empty venue space. It is surrounded by a lot of commercial buildings and people will always come here having their lunch and chill out too. We have to do our physical study about the row and do research of their art and culture. We also need to analyze the building materials of the row in this project. Moving to the next board, this is our Project 2 infographic board. As I mentioned before, I choose air plant as my subject matter, and air plant also called tillandsia. Tillandsias are involved or be used in art and science field, and there are different types of tillandsia that can be designed in variety of the creative display ideas. Next board is my conceptual space programming board that we need to define our space function and the activities before we design our interior. Finally reached the Project 3 final board. First, welcome to Airloop. It is a science and art center. It is also a space to relieve stress and have a contact with the plants. Air represents air plant and loop represents symbiosis relationship between the human and the plant. In Airloop's business side, our target user include kids, students, adults, community members, tourists, and the tillandsia specialists and bionists. Airloop opens every day and there are 2 sessions in the laboratory and the landscape studio. Other space is open to public except that 2 area, and visitors have to buy the entry ticket to the laboratory and the landscape studio. And there are 4 highlight activities we'll explain further in the axonometric view later. And next is my plan and the section that show the environment context around the building and the material element on the flooring and the wall. Now let's talk about the circulation of the plant. And first, the entrance is located on the ground, and as you can see over here, when they get in, they need to go from the left first and follow the dome structure itself. And when they want to reach to the mezzanine floor, over here is the staircase that penetrate through the dome. And when they reach to the mezzanine, over here is the botanic garden, landscape studio, office, laboratory area. And when they want to going back to the ground, over here is the spiral staircase that they need to going back to the botanic garden first and use this spiral staircase to back to the ground. And when they back to the ground, over here is the exit area and the pavilion area too. Moving to the axonometric view, from ground floor area there are 3 zones. So first zone is the desert zone, and the second zone is the community center that is a forest zone, and right side is the cliff climbing zones. These 3 zones represent the environment condition that tillandsia live in all around the world. And when you reach to the mezzanine floor, the main space consists the central, botanic garden, landscape studio, office, and the laboratory area. As I mentioned 4 highlight activities before, first is the cross the desert in the desert zone, and you can explore different types of tillandsia in living in the desert zone. Second is the cliff climbing, and you can recognize which type of tillandsia is living on the cliff. Third is the skywalk that located above the cliff zone. Last is the quiz tunnel that hanging above the mezzanine void area. Moving to the next is the material. I've used a lot of this material in my design that include wire mesh and terrazzo and wood-like tiles that using in the flooring, and same as the concrete, glass, and the plywood. Now let's start our journey. So first, you can buy the ticket and claim your wristband, or you can redeem the ticket at the counter if you purchase it online. Before going into the interior, you must scan my Sejahtera first, and this is the first view when you get in. You have to read the basic information of the tillandsia and get some tips or knowledge about it, because there are digital panel everywhere that you can play the quiz and answer the question to claim your point by scanning your wristband, and the point can use to get some discount on buying tillandsia later. So let's cross the desert zone using this elevated trail, and you can explore the different species of tillandsia that live in the desert zone. When you cross the trail, you will reach to the oasis zone. It is a double-layer plant nursery tunnel, and going down from this tunnel, you will see the garden mart and the handcraft store. It is a 2-in-1 space that you can claim or buy your tillandsia here, or you can create your own display idea of the tillandsia. So next is the view of the community center, and it is a space that everyone can gather here and sharing their experience of having the tillandsia and also spreading the love of tillandsia. Now let's talk about some details of this space because it is the main structure of my design. And this is a disconstruct dome that using the steel bracket to connect them together and install the triangle plywood on it. And this structure is inspired by the people meeting dome that located at Denmark. As you can see in the interior part, I used the LED strip light that follow the dome structure to light up the interior, and this is the column that hanging with the tillandsia. I also call this column as Tree of Tillandsia. It represents the forest zone idea as I mentioned before. So now reaching to the mezzanine floor, you will see the huge glass bowl hanging with the tillandsia, and it represents the tillandsia can hang everywhere and it is freedom. So you will have two pathways to choose, either left or right. So let's start from the left first. Left is the botany garden. As you can see, there are a lot of Spanish moss hanging on the mesh panel, and the Spanish moss is a type of tillandsia too, and it shows the beauty of the tillandsia. So from the botany area, you can reach to the landscape studio. It is a space that providing outstanding landscape project and also providing education for visitors who came here to learn on how to create their landscape idea by using the tillandsia. Next is the office and the staff resting area. This area are connected with the landscape studio and the laboratory area too. And moving to the laboratory area, it is a space that doing scientific research of tillandsia and also providing education same as well as the landscape studio too. Going back to the central, you will notice the quiz tunnel on your head above, and the kids can climb up from the net climber to find the quiz panel, and they can look to the central bowl through the glass panel too. And let's continue to the right side. You will reach this skywalk that it is a tempered glass platform that connects with the cliff climbing area. Let's go straight from the cliff platform. You will reach to the plant nursery tunnel that connect back to the botany garden, and you can use the spiral staircase down to the ground floor. It means that botany garden can be your first destination but also the last destination on the mezzanine floor. So when you're back to the ground, and this is the first view that you will see first, and you can choose to continue your journey or you can choose to exit. But before exit, there is a pavilion area for visitors to rest and taking the pictures. This space is a space that hanging full of tillandsia on the wall and the ceiling too. And the space design idea is giving the visitor last impression of full with the tillandsia and the brand itself, heirloom. And that's the end of the journey. I hope you enjoyed this journey and thank you. Now let's watch the walkthrough video and let's start.